Hello, hi, and welcome back to the Marathopolis. Today we are talking about Thor, the first one. So this is a movie I've seen before, and that's important because, again, for these early Marvel movies, I apparently have not seen many of them, but I have seen this one, and I will say before, like right off the bat, I thoroughly enjoy this movie. I love this movie a lot. There are a few things that aren't great, but all in all, great, solid movie. Just want to get that out there before I lose anyone. I love Thor. First things first, I want to say I love how this movie really got me to like Thor. And I said it because in the beginning of the movie, he is very much like, I don't want to say infantile, but he's very like, he thinks with his fists, basically, you know? And I love how throughout the movie, we get to see his growth, and by the end of the movie, he becomes the Thor that we all know and love, and that has served us well. I will also say Loki is high key like one of the smartest characters I have like ever seen. Like he's always playing chess when all the other characters are playing checkers. And sure, later they catch up. You know, they stop trusting him as much because in Thor, they don't know not to trust him like that. And in the later movies, they learn not to trust him. But in this movie, he plays everyone pretty well, I will say. Now, I forgot that Loki didn't always know that he wasn't an Asgardian for real. I thought he always knew that for some reason. I guess I misremembered. So that was interesting. But yeah, I don't think he took the news very well, if I'm being honest. Like, him learning that he was basically adopted, I think that played a part in his spiral downwards. That, and I guess his hubris is the right word for his. He believes that he's entitled to the throne, basically. And first of all, I don't think he understands how stressful it is to be a part of the throne. Because I think if he understood how stressful it is, like how big of a job being king of an entire realm or stuff is, I don't think he'd want the job. I think he likes the appeal of it. He likes like the appeal of power, but he doesn't actually want to wield it for the benefit of the people. He just wants it because it's big and shiny. And this is not Loki slander. I love Loki. I'm just saying, it's kind of like Thor. This is like, you know, first of all, this is where they're both introduced, obviously. But like, this is the beginning of his journey, and unlike Thor, by the end of the movie, I don't believe is the end of his journey. Like, his character arc extends. I mean, obviously all the character arcs extend throughout the movies, but like his growth takes a lot more time than other characters, like Thor. You know? Also, I saw a review when I was watching the movie, and I saw it online. It was funny because when Loki learns, obviously, that he's a Jotun and not an Asgardian, and that he was basically adopted, you know, him and Odin have a little fight. They have a little bout in, I think it's the vault. And like, Odin gets yelled at for like 10 seconds and then collapses. I'm sorry, like, that was funny a little bit, like in all the wrong ways. Like, he could not handle getting yelled at for 10 seconds. That's kind of crazy to me. Thor definitely needed to be exiled, and I believe, I don't remember if it was explicitly stated in the film, but I believe, like, yeah, it's obvious. Loki like basically orchestrates the whole thing. Like, first he lets the Jotuns onto Asgard during Thor's little ceremony. He lets them on, sneaks them on, so they can go and try to get the casket of Winters. Odin senses them, kills them, and then that derails everything. That causes Thor to spiral into wanting to show the Jotuns that they can't mess with Asgard. So he's angry. And then Loki like slips in, like, basically, I forget what he says, but I know he like eggs on Thor. And he like kind of like suggests that he should go show them a message without saying it. He's like, you shouldn't do this. You can't do this. This is what you could do. You know, like he brings it up and then backtracks in a way that has like plausible deniability, and it's very smart. And then, you know, obviously they go, and he tells the guards that they're going so they can tell Odin. Then the excursion goes horribly wrong. They almost die. Odin has to stop it, and then war is declared, right? So then that prompts Odin and Thor, once they get back to Asgard, to fight. Odin realizes that Thor is, there's a word I'm trying to find. I'm not good with English. But basically, he realizes that Thor is not ready for the throne, casts him out to Midgard or Earth, and the rest is history. But all of that was Loki's doing when you think about it. He planned it so that he can get Thor out of the picture. I don't think he planned for Odin to fall into his little Odin sleep or buffering. I don't think Loki planned to have Odin fall into his Odin sleep, but I would say it definitely aided Loki. Because there's no way he could have planned for that, right? There's no way he could have known if I yell at this old man loud enough, he'll pass out. But maybe he did know. And then he goes to Jotunheim, right? Strikes a deal with Laufey so that he can get the casket of so that they can get the casket of Winters back in exchange for killing Odin, because he allegedly wants vengeance on Odin for what I don't really know. I know it doesn't end up going that way, but he has this grudge against Thor and Odin for reasons I believe are unfounded. Then they get there, Loki betrays the frost giants and kills father. Now he knows Laufey is his father at this point. He kills him, and which I guess is rightfully so, because Laufey did leave Loki to die in the cold, and it was Odin who saved him. Which, when you really think about it, Loki should be really grateful towards Odin, I believe, and he's just not. So yeah, and then he betrays them, and he reveals that this whole thing was so that he can show Odin how good of a leader he was by impressing him, by taking out Laufey and pacifying the frost giants, and then by pacifying, I mean using the Bifrost to destroy an entire world that he is from. He might not have been raised there, but he was born there. So, that is what Loki is doing throughout the entire movie. I'm not even touching on, Thor's whole journey yet. But, that's insane. That's an insane strategy that he was trying to execute. All to try and show Odin that he could be a better, I guess, ruler than Thor. I guess that's what you're trying to do. But, didn't really pan out for him. But I'm saying this because, again, it just shows how smart this man is. And further down the line in the MCU, he just keeps on being very, very clever. And next to being manipulative are his defining qualities. So yeah. Now onto Thor. Thor's whole journey, again, I really think he needed to be exiled. He was way too headstrong, wasn't thinking with anything but his fists. He was craving war. He needed this. He needed to be humbled, definitely. And when Odin exiles him, he puts the little charm on his hammer, and that got me thinking. I don't think before this moment that Mjolnir was not able to be picked up by your regular average person. I didn't do any research into this, but I believe that before this moment, Mjolnir was able to be picked up by anyone, because he inscribes onto it only those who are worthy will have the power, or Thor, whatever. So that means to me that before this moment, anyone could pick up Mjolnir. And that was interesting because I always believed that it was always like that. That, as in not everyone could pick up Mjolnir, but I guess that's not true. So that's cool. I never realized that. And then, also being exiled served Thor good because he met the love of his life in Jane Foster. So again, it really did him some good. Yeah, he gets exiled. Nothing of substance really happens, or anything notable really happens, until he tries to get his hammer back and fails because he's not worthy yet. And then that's when he's taken in by S.H.I.E.L.D. and Loki pays him a visit and then tells him that Odin is dead, not that he is basically in a coma. So you see, this is where okay, Loki, why would you do that to man? Obviously his plan is to keep Thor out of the picture so that he can ascend to the throne. But my question here is, what would you do once Odin wakes up? Because we all know that, at least I know or believe, that Odin wants Thor to come back. It's not a permanent exile. He wants Thor to take this and learn from it, which he does, and become a better person and become suitable to rule. So to me, telling Thor that Odin's dead and keeping him on Earth forever, that just wasn't gonna work, in my opinion, unless he was gonna take Odin out of the picture, which would be crazy. But after Loki lies to Thor and it's you're dead, your dad is dead, which is just, obviously a lie, Thor rightfully, breaks down and believes that he killed his father, because Loki told him that he killed his father with the stress that he caused and everything. Even though it was Loki who actually put him into his little coma thing by yelling at him. But that's besides the point. I also want to add that I'm going to call them the Earth Gang. being Thor, Jane Foster. Should I include Thor? I'm actually not going to include Thor. I'm going to call them the Earth Gang. Earth Gang, including Jane Foster, Darcy, and Selvig. I think that should be the Earth Gang. And then, because Thor, even though he spends time on Earth, he's primarily like doing other heroic stuff. But you know, the Earth Gang got like their research stolen by S.H.I.E.L.D., which is like, come on, bro, come on. And then I think it was funny because I don't remember this at all from watching it. Whenever I watched it back the first time, I think it was funny how they hit Thor with. Maybe I shouldn't say it's funny on the internet. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I think it was funny how they hit him with a car. I think it was a little funny. I don't know. I just don't remember that. Oh, that was funny to me. Yeah. Towards the end of the movie, when, what are they called? Thor's friends. I think it's like the Warriors 3. It's like Lady Sif and the Warriors 3. I think that's their name. When they go off to Earth and they sneak off to Earth. How do they get to Earth? I'm trying to remember. I think they used the Bifrost. Yes. I think just Heimdall just like left it on. Speaking of, I love Heimdall. He's one of my favorite characters in the entire MCU. I love him so much. He's just a real guy. Like, he's just so real. And I root for him every time he's on screen. So there's that. But they go to Earth and they tell Thor, hey, your dad's not dead. And Thor is rightfully mad at Loki for lying to him. And, you know, after that is when Loki sends that metal suit thing to try and kill Thor. This man has tried to kill his brother like far too many times, honestly. Like, this is your brother. Adopted or not, Thor is your brother, Loki. Like, you can have a grudge against him for whatever reason. He has done nothing to you. Like, okay, having a little bit of a grudge towards Odin, I might understand. Even though Odin did save your life, him constantly favoring Thor over you, I can see how that would be frustrating. But I don't think you should blame Thor for that. I know it's hard because it's like, you know, you see Thor as the enemy also because he's the main beneficiary of this thing. But I don't think you should blame Thor. If you have anyone to blame, it's yourself and it's Odin, because honestly, Loki, you are not fit for the throne. But, you know, that being said, tries to kill him, but sends that death machine, and then only after he like risks his life to like save all the little townspeople does Mjolnir like deem him worthy, and then he's able to beat it. But one of the things that I remember most about this movie, it's only one of the things, it's a small thing, but during this scene, I don't like the way this little town looks. I don't know. It feels like a set to me. Like, I don't know. There's the way it feels. I don't like it when they're fighting. Like, in some areas it looks fine, and then others it looks weird. So that's one criticism I have against the movie. I just don't like the way the set in New Mexico looks. I don't know where it actually filmed, but I know in universe it's in New Mexico. So that's just one small thing. But, you know, he I think it's called the Destroyer, the suit of armor. So he destroys the Destroyer. Again, Loki has tried to kill his brother way too many times. And then, how do they get back? I think Heimdall brings him back. I don't know why I'm like blanking on these things. Oh my god. That's the only way they could get back. So they come back to Asgard, and Loki is, you know, trying to commit genocide, and that's not okay. But he almost succeeds, basically. And the only way that Thor is able to stop it is to destroy the Bifrost, which drastic but fair. Yeah, I didn't even know it was like a weapon like that you could use the Bifrost to like destroy an entire planet. That is crazy. That is actually crazy. So after Thor destroys the Bifrost and they have their little fight on the Rainbow Bridge, Odin wakes up and he comes to, and he rescues Thor, and then Loki holds onto Thor. And then Loki is so dramatic. He is so dramatic because he's like, Father, I try to make you proud. And then Odin is like, nah, man, I don't condone that. And then he like lets go and supposedly dies. I know he doesn't, but he supposedly dies. And he has pulled this too many times. Like, I'm literally keeping a Loki death counter because he keeps doing this. So it's at 1 right now, and it's going to go up because I know he just keeps doing this. I don't remember how many times Loki has faked his death or cheated death or whatever, but we're at 1 right now. So we're gonna see how high it gets. I don't remember how high it gets, but I know it's more than 1, and I know it's more than 2. So we'll see. But that's all I have to say about this movie. I feel like I didn't say that much. There's like only a few notable / memorable things about this movie, but I don't believe that makes it a bad movie, if that makes sense. Like, I still thoroughly enjoyed the movie, even though I don't have that much to say about it. So yeah, I don't think there's anything else, because I don't want to say a whole lot of nothing happens, but like a whole lot of not memorable stuff happens, but it still is good while you're watching it. And, you know, I just believe that it does a very good job of introducing a few of my favorite characters in the MCU, that being, I like Thor. I like him a little bit, I'm gonna be honest, like, he's not my favorite character, and to get ahead of myself, I watched Thor Love and Thunder. I hate that movie, and I will hold it against Thor, but I do love Loki, and even Odin is a very compelling character to me, so there's that. With that being said, I would like to turn to my glorious, massively created tier chart. And to remind everyone of the category, we have Absolute Cinema. These are for movies that are top tier, best of the best. Right under that, we have Worthy of a Rewatch. This is for movies that are not quite top tier, but are good in their own right, and I would watch them again. Below that, we have Not Good, Not Bad. This is for movies that are in the middle. They're not the best, they're not the worst. They're just there. Under that, we have Barely Watchable. These are for movies that, well, I didn't want to turn off the TV, the thought did cross my mind. And at the bottom of the barrel, we have Who Greenlit This? And these are for movies that should have never been made. I think, while I like this movie, I like it a bit, having talked about it out loud and said my thoughts about this movie, I think it deserved to be in Not Good, Not Bad. And I'm gonna say that because I would rewatch it. It wasn't the best thing ever. Like, it's a good introductory movie. It's a good movie in general. I don't know. Like, it feels weird. No, actually, because I believe that on the tier chart, it's gonna be next to Captain Marvel and the Incredible Hulk. But if you remember, I said that Incredible Hulk is only there, like, honorary basically, and it really deserves to be in a space in between Not Good, Not Bad and Barely Watchable. And in the future, I might bump it down to Barely Watchable, but that's for the end of the marathon when I go back into this tier chart and reorganize everything. So I believe that Thor belongs in Not Good, Not Bad next to Captain Marvel. I think that's where it belongs. And yeah, because, you know, with Captain Marvel, it's the same thing where, like, not that much noteworthy happens, but it's a good movie in my opinion. So I'm saying I believe a lot. I don't like repeating myself that much, but it belongs next to Captain Marvel because it has that same feel where not that much notable happens, but it's still good in its own right. With that being said, that's pretty much everything I want to say about the movie. Again, I liked it. Didn't necessarily love it. It's not my favorite movie. It's not my favorite movie within the MCU. It's interesting. It does a good job at laying a foundation, which is important for a franchise, and it introduces me and the audience to characters I hold dear to my heart. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do what all the other YouTubers ask you to do. I won't ask you to do it, but feel free to like, comment, or maybe even subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you didn't like the video, you did, and you're just wrong. So yeah, that's about all I have for you today. Please stay tuned for the next video, and remember to eat your dinner, get your sleep, and bye!